We build with stone, steel, and concrete because we want things to last. We construct massive monuments and sweeping institutions to convince ourselves that our legacy is secure and that the ground beneath our feet is entirely stable. 2,000 years ago, a group of fishermen stood in Jerusalem, staring up at the Second Temple. They marveled at the sheer scale of the architecture, the massive, immovable stones that seemed designed to stand until the end of time. Then, Jesus looked at the pinnacle of their religious and cultural achievement and told them it was all coming down. He stated plainly that not a single stone would be left stacked upon another. The structures we perceive as eternal are fragile and fleeting. In the broader scope of history, every human-built empire, physical wall, and political institution eventually collapses. Tying your ultimate security to things you can touch is a dangerous vulnerability. When those visible structures inevitably fracture and fall, a period often described as the end times, the resulting shockwave can shatter a worldview built on the illusion of earthly permanence. As stable societal orders begin to crumble, the immediate byproduct is deep psychological chaos. Reports of wars, natural disasters, and famines flood in, creating a desperate, panicked demand for an immediate rescue. That exact panic is highly exploitable. Figures claiming divine authority emerge, using the public's terror and their hunger for quick, miraculous fixes to manipulate and deceive massive crowds. Surviving this environment depends on how we categorize the trauma. The ancient texts use the term birth pains, framing the breakdown of order as the violent, necessary beginning of something else, rather than its final conclusion. Curious, observant, to understand how to process this kind of trauma, look at this visual breakdown. We see a deeply chaotic, visceral map of survival. You cannot survive a collapsing world by simply looking away. You have to stare directly into the mechanics of the turmoil, decode the threats, and locate the hidden anchors of truth buried in the chaos. Notice this aggressive red shape resembling a massive mouth. It represents hostile forces attempting to swallow a person's faith whole through external persecution and deep personal betrayal. Their function is to chew and grind, an agonizing process that completely pulverizes our worldly attachments. Left unchecked, that kind of relentless grinding would completely destroy the human spirit. The ancient texts note that these days of unparalleled distress are deliberately cut short by a merciful God, preventing total annihilation. The hostility of the world acts as a brutal, heavy millstone. Instead of erasing a believer, the intense pressure crushes the superficial layers, leaving behind only the dense, unshakable core of actual faith. Below the teeth, 3 dark nails represent the immediate, piercing pain of suffering, drawing a direct line to the historical suffering of Christ. But consider a nail's mechanics. While designed to pierce, its ultimate purpose is to fix things securely in place. In a period where everything is shaking and falling apart, that pain acts as an anchor. It fastens the believers securely to a hard truth, keeping them grounded when false prophets try to sweep them away with alluring promises. A world being torn down offers no safe harbor. In that environment, the cold, sharp reality of the truth is often painful to accept, but it is the absolute only tether you can trust to hold your weight. The violence on the left is met by a structured defense on the right. These small, woven crosses show that enduring a crisis is a collective experience. They form a dense, protective net, visualizing how grace has already infiltrated every inch of this fractured landscape. This completely reframes the concept of persecution. When an individual is dragged before hostile authorities, it is not a sign of defeat. It is a highly visible, divinely arranged stage where the Holy Spirit steps in to provide the exact words they need to speak. The intense pressure of a collapsing society forces a necessary and critical evolution. The individual stops being a passive victim of their circumstances and becomes an active, undeniable witness to the rest of the world. As cities fracture and systems fail, the most profound threat actually develops in silence. Matthew 24:12 warns of a specific internal erosion, a total collapse of the human spirit. When lawlessness peaks and the powerful exploit the weak without consequence, the psychological toll is devastating. People exhaust all their energy simply trying to survive. In that environment, the natural human instinct for self-preservation kicks in, and the love of most begins to freeze over. This calligraphy grid offers a different way to navigate the apathy. The red character top left is love, the attribute keeping the human heart from freezing over. Below it, the black ink forms harvest, representing the gathering of souls during the greatest trial. Surviving this requires what the texts call enduring patience. This is not a passive surrender, or sitting quietly while you wait for the end. It is a highly proactive, rebellious choice to trust completely in a sovereign authority that sits above the chaos. When you stare down a reality defined by the grinding teeth of chaos and the sharp nails of suffering, the natural response is to turn cold and look out for yourself. To look at that and stubbornly choose to love anyway, that is the ultimate victory. That is how you survive the end of the world.